Hey guys, Brandon here. I was thinking last night, I was trying really hard to fall asleep, and for some reason this kept popping into my head. I was thinking about my one spooky story, my only scary occurrence where there was an unexplainable event, or not unexplainable, I'm sure there's an explanation, but an unexplained event because I don't have any answers and it happened 20 or more years ago, so I don't exactly have any way to find out now. But the story interests me so much because I am someone who does not believe in the supernatural or the paranormal. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in spooky critters. I don't believe in anything like that because I'm very much a evidence guy. I need proof of whatever is being claimed. Uh, I'm not sure if the camera is actually having trouble, but if there's dropped frames, I do apologize. I checked a different recording when it claimed that the same thing was happening, and it wasn't happening, so I'm just going to assume it's not. But anyway, if it does, I apologize. But anyway, back on track. So bear that in mind when I'm telling this story. I don't believe in anything, supernatural or paranormal. I'm just telling you what happened. According to my memory, anyway. So it was 20 years ago. I do have a really strong memory, but because I was so young, it's entirely possible that I misremembered something, and also the circumstances around what happened could have led to some kind of like incorrect interpretation of the events. Um, so anyway, let me set the scene, I guess. So this happened in Hesperia. I was at my mother's dad's house where he had a second family. So he was, he had my mom and her brother, and then him and her mom got divorced, and he remarried and had a second family way later. So he ended up, we ended up in a situation where I have an aunt who is 1 year older than me, I think, and I have another aunt who's I think like 6 or 7 years older than me, maybe. And then I have an uncle who's maybe 4 or 5 years older than me. I don't know, and without getting into too many details, I don't talk to that side of the family. Period. So uh, that's that. Apologies for the vagueness, but yeah, that's about as good as that's gonna get. So anyway, they lived in Hesperia when this happened, and they lived in a house that felt particularly isolated, particularly at the time that this happened, because there was no cell phones, or at least we didn't have them because we were children, and the backyard to this house was just a giant field. There was no like fence or anything like keeping it as like a defined property line, like there's something secure feeling about that when you kind of have like a definable boundary, but it just kind of was like open for a really long way, and there was like a lot of just desert behind the house. And I think there were neighbors to the left and right, but they were like pretty spaced out. So particularly at night, as children with no adults around, it could get a little spooky feeling if we felt, in the more helpless way. That was a weird way that for me to phrase that. I don't know what the fuck my brain was doing. Anyway, so we're in the house. We, as in myself, my uncle, and my aunts, and I think my uncle might have had a friend over, maybe. But the point is that everyone there was underage, and certainly not like who you would turn to if something scary were to happen. And unfortunately, something scary happened. And the thing that drives me nuts to this day is I don't remember if we ever told anyone. It's interesting. I remember the event very clearly. Excuse me, but I don't remember if we ever told anyone. And I don't know if we did. What did we say to them? Because they might have just been like, "Ah, oh, you guys are fucking nuts. You're lying, or you're full of imagination, or whatever." But yeah, we were in the dark for whatever reason. I don't remember why. It's like we were just in the dark because, and we were, split off into groups. So like all the guys were hanging out. So it was me, my uncle, and like I said, I think he had a friend over, and then my aunts and maybe a friend of theirs. I don't remember if they had a friend over, but groups were split and we were just kind of mingling with each other. Now, the beginning of this is one place where my memory does fail a little bit. So, real quick, I'm just going to give you the layout. Sorry, I hit the mic. There's living room, and to the right of the living room, if you're facing like, towards the TV, there is a dining room and a kitchen, and there is a window that's like up along the roof line, right? It's too tall for us to look out, or for me anyway. My oldest aunt might have been able to look out. She might have been tall enough, but it was like super high up. It wasn't like a normal like window that's like at like eye level, and we somebody and this is one part. This is like the one detail where I'm a little hazy. Somebody sees something in the window, and I feel like this could dictate a lot of how this played out in my memory. Now, somehow we all arrive at the conclusion that there is something scary in the window. And what I mean by that is, I don't know if there actually was or not, or if the fact that somebody else looked at the window and screamed and ran away, if that put the idea in everyone else's head that we all need to fucking run because there's definitely something there. That could be the case. I'm totally willing to accept that the image in my mind is not what happened. But what I saw, very briefly, and that's another thing that makes the story like, well, it could be anything. What I saw was two eyes, or what I interpreted as eyes, in the window. And then just like pure darkness outside because it was nighttime. And again, very isolated location, so it's not like there was street lights or anything else. It was pitch fucking black, and I see what appears to be two eyes looking in at us. Now, I am totally willing to believe that those are not eyes. In fact, I'm very much inclined to believe that it was not eyes. But that brings up the question, what did I even see? Like, what could have given that perception? One thing that did occur to me when I was much older was it could have been like a friend of somebody there who came over to fuck with everybody and knew we were all like fucking around in the living room. So they, I don't know, climbed up on a ladder or some boxes or something and like put something in the window to give the impression that there was something like watching. That could be entirely the case, but I don't know. And again, I don't remember. I don't remember when we went back out into the living room. I think we might have waited till the adults came home. I don't remember if we ever heard any noises. I don't remember a lot of like the aftermath. What I do remember is seeing something in the window and taking the fuck off. And the other thing that I question is what would have happened if I had been alone. Because if I had seen something in the window, I might have stood still for a minute longer just to see what I was even looking at before panicking. Because in the situation, the fact that somebody screamed and everyone ran put that like that pressure on me to also get out of there, because my interpretation of the event was obviously that something bad would happen if I did not follow them. So what would have happened if I had been alone? Maybe I would have stood still for a second longer and seen what it really was. What would happen if I had been an adult? I think that would definitely change things, because if I was an adult, that's not how I would react. As an adult, if something is like possibly invading my privacy on my property, I get very defensive, not scared. So if I thought someone was looking through my window, I'd like reach for the nearest blunt object or sharp object, and I would like run to the front door and I would rip that shit open, and I would start, shouting and trying to find out what was going on. But as a kid, fuck no, I wouldn't do that. I took off with everybody else. I was like, somebody screamed, I see something, Time to go. Like, I don't need more answers than that. But now as an adult, I want the answers. I want to know what the fuck was in the window. Was it nothing? Did I not even see anything? Like, I don't know. I don't remember having an imagination to the point when I was a kid where I would like see things, right? Like, I never was like that. I never had any imaginary friends or anything. I I've never seen something that wasn't there, as far as I know. Anyway, who knows? But yeah, I don't know what it was. Nobody else knew what it was because we all ran, so nobody was sticking around to take a good look at whatever the fuck it was. And yeah, I have zero answers. And I remember I was telling my mom about this, and she got this really concerned look on her face, like she was really disturbed to hear this story. Um, and I didn't think of it as being all that creepy when I was telling it to her for the first time as an adult, which makes me think I didn't tell anybody, or we didn't tell anybody as a kid, or at least not my mom, because when she heard me talking about it, she had this transition on her face of just like, what the fuck was that? Like, she had no idea. She was very upset to hear this information. She's a little more inclined to believe in spooky things, so I'm sure to her it's like there was definitely a demon at her dad's house looking at us through the window. But me, I have zero idea of what it is. Could have been a prank, could have been some weird coincidence of lighting, could have been just a suggestion put in my head by somebody else screaming because they thought they saw something, and that made me think I saw something too. I don't fucking know, and I'm never going to know, and that really chaps my ass, you know, because it's been at least 20 years since that happened probably, and every now and then I think about it, and I'm like, what was it? Was it anything? Did I happen to see like a spooky monster, and that's it? I'll never know anything else about that event. Um, so anyway, now that we're done talking about it, because I really don't have anything else to say, if you've had any spooky experiences, I would love to hear about them in the comments. I know I did say that I don't believe in any supernatural or paranormal things, but if you have something you'd like to share, I will not treat you poorly just because I don't necessarily believe that those things are real. And I am somewhat interested in hearing people's stories because it does get my mind going to think about, well, what did happen? Because if I don't believe it, then my brain starts working on, well, what could it have been then? Because if I flatly refuse the possibility of it being a ghost or a monster or something, then what would it have been? And obviously, if somebody's telling me a story, there's no way for me to know because I wasn't there, so I don't know if they were fucking sleeping and maybe they didn't know. Because, I mean, I've had sleep paralysis one time, and if I didn't already know what it was before I had it, that could have been the thing that made me believe in supernatural shit because it was the scariest fucking thing in my life. But, I knew what it was the second it was over. I was like, oh, that's what that's like, because I had read about it really, really soon in relation to when I had it, my one and only time in my life. But anyway, yeah, if you have spooky stories, share them in the comments. If you have any ideas of what you think might have been the case in my spooky story, let me know what you think. I'm not inclined to believe that it's paranormal or anything like that. And at the end of the day, even if you somehow knew exactly what the answer was, nobody's ever going to know because it was 20 fucking years ago. Anyway, that's it for right now. After this video, I'm going to say this. This video is irregular. The way I've got it set up right now is I kind of want to just upload on Tuesday and Thursday. Excuse me, sorry. It gives me time to make videos in advance if I have any kind of fear that I'm not going to be able to get anything done in a given week. And also, I don't know. I just like the video, day in between, another video, and then a couple days off until the next video. That way I'm not overloading your fucking sub feed because I don't want to do that. So anyway, yeah, this video is like my irregular. I get to upload videos any other time that I want, but the two videos that were definitely coming out this week are still definitely coming out this week. So I'll see you guys in the next video, and yeah, hope you all have a nice day, and hopefully nothing scary happens to you. So take care, everybody.